Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, and today I have again invited our very good friend, Dr. Nazmus Sakib, back to the studio. Welcome!
Thank you very much for inviting me, and hello to the audience.
Hello to the audience. Yeah, indeed. Here on Takeaway Chinese, we share the Chinese language, the Chinese cultural elements, and now we're doing something quite special. That is to invite friends who are learning Chinese outside of the country, learning Chinese with different proficiency of the language to share their learning experience, talking about a certain theme that they're interested in, and also sharing some of the basically observations and insights about the culture, about the society from their very unique perspective. And I'm very happy to have you here in the studio talking about this quite interesting theme that might at the first glance sound a bit far away from a city dweller. That is 丰收. Do you know what 丰收 means?
Well, it's like the reap of harvest, bumper harvest.
Yes. 丰 means 丰富, so rich. 收 is 收获, harvest, so a good harvest, 丰收. And 丰收 is actually quite important to each and every one of us because, well, we need to feed ourselves with something. And for thousands of years, China has been this agricultural country, and we would see our ancestors, many of our ancestors being a farmer, working really hard in the field and only hoping for a good harvest. And later on, we figure out what are some, for example, traditional Chinese 24 solar terms that is indicators for different times of the year, indicating what should be done in the field. Should we be sowing? Should we be watering? And these are the very first step of improving the agricultural activity. And then we introduce heavy machineries into the field, and then even better technology. Nowadays, you see people using drones to spread fertilizers, and you see people getting the harvest and sell them online. And wow, how time flies.
Exactly. I really wonder how before, like recently we have cell phones, we have calendars to mark the days, we know what season it is, but like especially the farmers or in the agricultural side, they have been doing it without the calendars. They know exactly when to plant, exactly when to harvest. They're really amazing. I believe ancient farmers, they're really amazing.
And smart.
And very smart,
yeah, very
exactly.
smart. 所以你了解中国的节气吗？你都14年了，你了解节气吗？
我还行吧。
哦，真的啊？24节气都可以讲出来吗？
不行，不会那个。
但是有一些很熟悉，是不是？就比如说立秋，
我听过这些。
秋分。Yeah, I think knowing some of the solar terms is already really amazing as a foreign learner of Chinese language. But I always say that knowing the Chinese language is easy, but getting to really understand the meaning behind everything and knowing how, for example, what's the logic behind ways of saying certain things is quite important. And actually it helps a lot for your further studying.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you know all these different solar terms. So besides the solar terms, today let's actually learn some vocabulary about harvesting, shall we?
Oh, sure. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go for it.
Let's go for it. So besides 丰收 itself, which directly means a bountiful harvest and often used to describe a season of abundant crops or success in general, this word 丰收 can also be used metaphorically. So if we say 现在是丰收的季节, do you know what it means?
It's a time for a harvest?
Yes, but it's not only talking about, for example, in rural areas for farmers. You can metaphorically say, 我们已经努力了这么久，现在就是丰收的季节.
Yes. So I got a new phrase to use when I am done with my work and we're expecting the result.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. So
Okay.
metaphorically, we talked a little bit before the show about how Chinese people value food quite so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we say 民以食为天.
That means food is the basic necessity.
Yes, it's the necessity, it's the priority.
Priority
So,
number one,
yes,
yeah.
we know Tian is the sky or the heaven. So, it's like it's the top on the list. It's something very important. So, 民以食为天. So, that's why food and harvest it has always been very important to us. And that affects the way we use our language, the way we talk. So, a lot of food related metaphor is definitely there. And it's set phrases and expressions in the Chinese language. So 丰收的季节 can mean not only a harvesting autumn, but also a time to get the fruitful results that we have been working for a really long time, like you said. And the same goes to the idiom 硕果累累.
硕果累累.
硕果累累. So this expression means fruitful and bountiful, and it can be used metaphorically to describe great achievements or a successful outcome. So 硕 actually means big. 硕 means 大.
Yeah.
And 果 is the fruit, again, it can be fruit or fruitful results. 累累 is a word used to describe the scene of a very heavy, for example, apple or pear or any kind of fruit that is making the branch of the tree bending a little bit. So because they're getting very heavy, so the branches are bending. So the heavier it gets, the bendier the branches are. And that scene is 累累. So 硕果累累 describes a tree full of juicy and heavy and very ripe fruits on it. So 硕果累累 again can be used for great success. So 过去的一年硕果累累.
Oh.
So the previous year, a lot of fruitful results.
Okay.
That's the thing about using Chinese idioms. It's like you understand the meaning of it, but it does not always fit into a sentence perfectly. Actually, in a lot of times, we would use the idioms independently. So, for example, 丰衣足食.
丰衣足食.
And that means?
Plenty of clothes and food.
Yes, because 丰 we know is plenty, a lot, rich in something. And 衣 is 衣服, clothing. And 足 means enough, abundant. 食, 食物, food. So 丰衣足食, this is also very interesting. It does mean plenty of clothes and food, and it implies a prosperous and abundant life due to good harvest. Yet, one thing I want to say about this is that I do not know if you noticed already. That is, in certain Chinese idioms, you can actually guess the meaning of it by the structure of the words of the characters in the idiom. Usually the idiom would have 4 characters. We see 4-character idioms the most often. And there is the phenomenon of having the first character being an adjective or a verb, and the second character being a noun, and the third character being an adjective, and the fourth character being a noun. In these situations, more often than not, the first character and the third character would mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Or similar things. And the second and the fourth would be the actual object of the verb or the adjective. So it's not like the first character, the first verb or first adjective is used for the first noun and the second adjective together used for the first and second noun together. So it's saying 丰足的衣食.
丰足的衣食.
Yes, so it's 丰衣足食. Even though you're separating them a little bit, they are understood together.
True. Okay, got it.
It same goes to the next idiom I'd like to introduce, 风调雨顺.
风调雨顺.
This idiom means a favorable
weather condition.
Yes, so you have 风 and 雨
Yes.
being the wind and the rain. 调 means 调和 harvest. 顺 means go according to your plan or favorable. if it goes to your plan or according to your plan or the way you wish for it, then it's favorable. So 调 and 顺 together means it's in a harmonious way. It is the way that I would like for it to happen, so it's favorable. And 风雨 is the wind and the rain. And it suggests or it symbolizes the weather condition. I know now it does not sound that significant because 风雨 together, it's about the weather. And 调 means very smooth, very favorable. 顺 also means favorable. It sounds like, we do not have to know that they mean the same thing or they direct to the same thing. But there is situations where the adjectives would hold opposite meanings. And in those situations, by having opposite meanings, these two adjectives actually talks about a certain phenomenon instead of just the adjective. So these are some Chinese idioms related to harvest. And we know another very important part of Chinese culture would be traditional Chinese poems. I was wondering, during your Chinese learning experience, have you ever learned about traditional Chinese poems? Anyone ever taught you that?
Well, during my university, we had like a lot of Chinese competitions.
Oh.
And for the Chinese competitions, I learned a lot of Chinese songs, a lot of Chinese poems, and idioms, things like that.
Oh, really? Can you recite one now, currently? One or two lines? No. It's 14 years, I understand.
Yeah.
It's way too long. But I get it. I mean, for me, when I'm learning English, it's
I
the same
think
thing.
14 years back, my Chinese was way better than it is right now.
Really? I don't believe it.
Because
Your
that time
Chinese is really good.
right now my Chinese is more focused on like my career related stuffs. But that time I learned a lot, like a lot of Chinese songs, just because I had time and I wanted to learn. I want to participate in the Chinese competition, so I could sing more Chinese songs, but I forgot the lyrics right now.
It's okay. All right. Let me bring back a little memory of yours.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure this one, or if I were your teacher, I would try to teach you this specific poem. It's not really long. It's called 悯农. I'll read it out and see if it registers with you. 锄禾日当午，汗滴禾下土。谁知盘中餐，粒粒皆辛苦。Ring a bell?
I think I remember this. It's like the noon sun beats down as the farmer hoes and sweat drapes into the soil below, something like that, right? The meaning, I remember this, but I don't remember exactly, but I remember, it's similar.
Yes, it is this one. This one is relatively straightforward because there are only 20 characters in this poem, meaning that it's really not that long. And the meaning is quite direct. 锄禾日当午, like you said, it is the noon sun beats down as the farmer hoes. And 汗滴禾下土, 汗 is the sweat. 滴 is the drip, so 汗滴 sweat drips into the soil below. 禾下土, 禾 is the little sprout, and 土 is the soil. So 汗滴禾下土, 谁知盘中餐? Who knows that in the dish of food, 盘 is the dish, and 餐 is the food, 盘中餐, the food in the dish. 粒粒皆辛苦, 粒 is a measure word. It's talking about the grains, and 辛苦 is hardworking. So 粒粒皆辛苦 basically means that each and every grain comes from hard labor. 粒粒皆辛苦. So this poem, often titled Pity the Farmer, is one of the most famous Chinese poems about the hardships of farming, and it's often recited to emphasize the value of hard work and the importance of not wasting food.
I think this is a very important one because we should not waste food. And we should always remember whenever we are wasting food, we should always remember the farmers and their hard work.
Yeah, that's the thing, because for thousands of years, people, especially, I think the majority of people in China are farmers. They have to work really hard in the field with no help, or with some help of animals, but no help of any large machineries, and they have to work really hard, and also they have to, we say in Chinese, 靠天吃饭. So depending on the sky to see whether or not you would have food to eat. That means the weather condition is also very important to agricultural activities. So sometimes farmers would have to work for an entire year without a good harvest, and that is both sad and actually vital for certain occasions, for certain scenarios. And that is the reason for these kind of poems to exist. And as a little kid, I think I learned this poem really, really young. That is a poem that my parents used to teach me to do not waste food. And I'm doing that to my son now. I'm doing it. He's only 2. He doesn't really understand. But I myself, as well as my mother-in-law, when we feed him, yes, he's not eating by himself just yet, but when we feed him, we would say, 粒粒皆辛苦, and he would sometimes repeat and sometimes just eat. And I think that's the passing down of knowledge in this sense.
I think this is very important, and appreciating the farmers, and I think we can less waste food, and by less wasting food, we also appreciate the hard work of the farmers. I think it's very important, and what you are doing to your 2-year-old baby, I think is very good, appreciable.
Thank you. I was wondering, do you have similar cultures or like sayings or poems or idioms in your culture?
Yes, when we were a kid, our parents used to tell us, but not to waste food because of the farmers' hard work, and because if you waste rice, so the rice takes a really long time, really hard work of the farmers, and everything our parents used to tell us when we were kids, and by that they used to mean not to waste food. Yeah, we have similar saying, but not exactly like the way Chinese have in poems. I think Chinese culture is very, very complete culture. You have for everything you have something.
Yeah, we do have something for everything. And coming to think of it, actually not only do we have these kind of poems teaching little kids not to waste food, we also have fake news kind of information or wrong information. For example, some parents in certain parts of the country would tell their kids that if you drop rice on the table, which means you are wasting the rice, you would have pimples on your face. So it's like the little dots on the table would become little dots on your face. So if you do not want to look bad, you should not waste even one little grain. And I think growing up, we all know it's not what it is, but it's kind of like a very funny and witty way of persuading your kid not to waste food, on top of telling them that farmers work really hard to achieve this fruitful harvest.
Yeah, I also heard this kind of similar stories, but I think it's interesting. And for the story, some of my friends, they heard was like, if you waste rice, it will become snake.
Ooh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, these kind of anecdotes and fairy tales have been in different cultures as well. That snake one, I'm going to use that one for my kid in the future. Well, you're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Honglin, and today our special guest, Dr. Nazmus Sakib. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts by email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's talk about what's happening in rural area in China today. What are some fun modern technology that is helping farmers living a better life, especially in the occasion of 丰收节or Harvest Festival? Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with our very good friend, Dr. Nazmus Sakib, today in the studio. So, do you know there is a Farmers Harvest Festival here in China?
Oh, yes, I heard about it, and it's very festive, especially in the rural areas near farmlands. So it's very festive.
Actually, yes, it is relatively new here in China. It was officially established in 2018 to honor the contributions of farmers and celebrate the harvest season. The festival typically takes place on the autumn equinox, which is 秋分. We talked a little bit about the Chinese solar terms. 节气秋分 is one of the traditional Chinese solar terms. It usually falls around September 23rd. The festival is significant for its focus on agriculture and rural culture, highlighting the importance of farming communities in China. It's celebrated with various activities such as traditional performances. You would have people singing and dancing and indicating they're celebrating for the great harvest. There will also be agricultural exhibitions, different breeds, different types of harvest, different types of agricultural products, and the latest version. I remember when I was a kid, seedless watermelon does not exist, but when time passes and I grow up, I started to see this really juicy and tasty and sweet watermelon with no seeds. Do not have to spit out the seed anymore. So these kind of new brands of agricultural products or basically new harvest would also be exhibited and during the harvest festival, and also local fairs where farmers showcase their produce. The same kind of activities would happen during the harvest festival. And the event is also another way to promote the rural revitalization and the development of modern agriculture in China. So I was wondering, because I know you've traveled to different places in the country, and you have definitely visited some rural areas, right?
Oh, yes, I did visited many rural areas from Dongbei to the south. I've been to many, and especially in different seasons, different time of the year.
What is your overall impression about these places? And you can give me some examples.
I'm very surprised to see. Actually, it depends. Like, since I'm living in China for 14 years, so like 14 years back and now, whenever I travel, or I think there is a huge upgrade in like the technology and like the innovations, especially like I would say the smart agriculture.
Yes.
I think it could be a role model for like many developing countries, especially in this agriculture priority countries. For example, in some places they're using like machineries, they're using GPS, or like they're using the internet, and they're using drones. They're utilizing tractors, harvesters, and other equipments to perform farming tasks, which makes it easier. And also they have a lot of data, so they know exactly when is the right time and when is the perfect moment to plant, and also to harvest. I also got surprised to know they have a lot of research going on how to make the species better. So that, like just now you were mentioning about the watermelon. In China, I have tasted the sweetest watermelon, I would say, because like the sweet watermelon I find in my country are also sweet, but not as sweet as Chinese ones. So the quality of food, the taste, everything is way like different. I would say it's possible because of the modern science and technology, the agriculture, like research related to agriculture. And it's helping a lot of farmers, like especially the science and technology is helping a lot of farmers to make their work a little bit easier, because we can stay indoor and we can work, but farmers in the ancient time, they used to, doesn't matter if it's summer, it's hot or it's cold, they have to stay outside. But because of the modern technology made their lives easier. I remember like in Dongbei, I went there during the winter, and I see everything is covered with snow.
Yes.
And there were like some places they were having the greenhouse sort of like plantation. So these kind of technologies and innovations, I think, are very helpful.
They are very helpful, and
Yeah.
they're quite important. We have a traditional Chinese saying, 四季如春. 四季 is the four seasons, and 如 is like, And 春 is 春天, spring. It's talking about good conditions. The weather is always pleasant. So it's saying that, if this place is 四季如春, then, well, this is a very pleasant environment to live. But it's also talking about the entire year being really nice. The reason I'm reminded with that saying is because usually or traditionally, people can only sow during spring and harvest during autumn. And that is why we're celebrating the harvest festival in autumn time. Yet, if you really take a look at the situation in different rural areas, you would notice that actually they harvest almost every season nowadays. It's not only during autumn time. It's 四季如秋 for some people. It's every season can be a harvesting season. I used to travel to Zigui, that is famous for their oranges. And guess what? Because of modern technology, like you said, because of the greenhouses, because they develop different species of oranges, they are able to produce oranges all around the year. It's just different species would come out in different time of the year. You have the very juicy ones that you can use to, for example, produce some orange juice, and you can have the very, very sweet and tender ones that you should eat directly. And there are so many different species. And I think, yes, we are really living in a good time that we do not have to endure the hard work that traditionally our ancestors as farmers would have to endure anymore. And another interesting perk about Zigui is that they are big on online agriculture and online shopping. They sell things online with live streams and everything. Have you ever purchased agricultural product online?
Yes, I did. And I think it's also very convenient, as you're saying, like the live streams and 直播.
直播?
Yeah, because it helps us to connect with the farmers, or we can see the real condition and we can buy it directly from the farmers. Because of the advancement of the technology, we can directly purchase from the farmers, and we can see exactly how the products are produced or how the goods are in real time situation, and we can buy. Actually, I like oranges, as you said, and I bought many oranges, and also I bought watermelon, and I remember I bought Yantai, in Shandong province.
Yes, Yantai.
Yantai. I bought apples from Yantai. Yeah.
They're quite sweet. I think
it's
I've
very
tried.
Sweet. I think it's one of the sweetest. I don't know, but I think for me, I really like Yantai apples. So every time someone says this is Yantai apple, I will must grab it and taste it.
Apples from different places definitely have different features. I think 新疆阿克苏苹果也非常好吃，很甜，冰糖心，very very sweet. You should try them as well.
新疆的水果我觉得非常出名。
Yes.
新疆的西瓜我觉得非常非常甜。
非常非常甜，是的。新疆还有哈密瓜。
对
The
哈密瓜
honey melon is also very very
还有
sweet.
葡萄。
葡萄。
对，也是非常好吃。
Yes, and that actually reminded me that we talk about technologies, we talk about agricultural technologies helping farmers and online shopping. And one thing that people tend to neglect is that the reason we can enjoy all these different produce, the reason that farmers can benefit from selling them to around the country is because of the transportation system. With good transportation system, the fruit, the raw produce can get to your doorstep in just a couple of days, making sure they're fresh, and the cold chain supply system is good enough, making sure that they're not rotten on the road. This is another very important factor that we must not ignore.
Exactly. I think the transportation system and also the development in the courier service system, I think it's really amazing. You can buy live fish, you can buy like vegetables, fruits, everything. And some of the delivery or the courier service, they deliver within a very short time, maybe within 1 day or something like that. I think it's very convenient. You can get the fresh farm picked fruits and vegetables, and or like whatever you order it. I think it's amazing. It's nice.
Yeah.
And this is possible only in China. I have been to other countries, but I've never seen so fast and so efficient delivery system. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I wish we have this in my country.
yeah, we definitely will in the short future, and hopefully the solution provided by China can make people around the world benefited from. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Dr. Nazmus Sakib in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at reader.cgtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. And if you have any questions or comments or anything you want to ask me or ask Dr. Sakib, you can actually send us an email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. And don't forget to leave a questions, comments, and most importantly, a 5-star rating. 感谢收听，那就祝大家丰收节快乐，
祝大家节日快乐，
拜拜，
拜拜。